Good afternoon, everyone. Sharice Jervis-Hill here, President and CEO of Events to Remember and PR to Remember. And I have a treat for you today. I am bringing to the microphone Mr. Donvil Collins. He is the founder and CEO of VeeKast. Donvil, welcome to Coffee with Cher.
Woohoo! Excited to be here. Hello, everybody. Glad to be here. Glad to see y'all.
Awesome. Well, we are happy to have you. So, Donvil, we have a tradition. We have to do a little cheers, a little, I have water in mind, nothing too exciting today. Anything exciting in your cup this afternoon?
I already had my cup of joe, so this is my water as well.
All right, we're hydrating. So, cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, so for those of you that are new to Coffee with Cher, it's our podcast series where we really talk to entrepreneurs that are doing great things in their field. And we always leave you with a tidbit of advice that you can implement in your business. So Donvil is out here kicking butt in the events production world. So Donvil, tell us a little bit about your company and how you got started.
Sure. So nice to meet everyone again. So pretty much our VeeKast, we are a full service video production company. Pretty much, not video production, full service production company that includes video and event audiovisual production. So it's a kind of a mix of the two. We've always been doing both things. And the way we got started primarily was initially helping churches. I honed in on my skills helping churches in the Bronx as a young man, as a teenager. And when I became an adult, I registered a company full service in my second year of college to start doing production as a company. The primary reason initially was just to ensure that I could have tax write-offs, so my expenses had some sort of write-off. But then ultimately, it was always also a passion of mine, this field and production, and especially helping to knock out these productions and do them on end.
So that's so funny, well, not funny, it's great. Churches, you started in churches and I hate talking about the C word. I'm not going to say it, but everybody knows what it is. It was just, I remember, during that time, you were like up and running for virtual stuff because you had been doing all of this stuff in churches. So you see how God works, Donvil? See how God works?
It all came full circle, right?
Yes. Yeah.
The production as a whole is like for the last pre-C word, it was most of our work was video production stuff, and we did the event production stuff, but it was much less of it. It was video production stuff. And then when C word came around and all the organizations still needed to do their events at a high level, we were like, well, we already know how to do this at a high level. So we've been doing that with churches for a long time. In the very beginning, it's probably that was the majority of what we were doing. And then it kind of evolved into doing a lot of corporate video production stuff. And then after that, it was just became small, and then C made it big again. And now at this point, it's between the event production work, which is like providing audiovisual services for events, and the production work, which is providing corporate video productions for organizations or for nonprofits, is 50.
Okay. Nice. Okay. So, Donvil, what sets you apart from your competition? I like to ask this question because, as entrepreneurs, a lot of times we have crossover with sometimes friends, in the industry. And I like to know, what is your thing? Like, what is that one thing that kind of sets you apart from others that have services similar to yours?
So for us, the big thing for us is it's two big things that we really pride ourselves on differentiating ourselves from every other company that does the same type of technical services or creative services. Is one really focused on the end goal in mind. It's not just about delivering the technical services. So sometimes even for our clients or people that we're connecting with the first time, they are a little almost taken aback or confused as to why we're so deep in digging in on what is it that you're trying to accomplish in the end. Because all of what we do, we want to keep that in mind, and everything is targeted at that. If it's for having some impact in some sort of way, or to get someone to respond in a certain way. We're really focused on the end goal in mind and tailor now the service around that. That's one of the differentiators. The second one is we really pride ourselves on not being like how most technical or creative people are, kind of knowing our industry where they're kind of, for lack of a better word, not people, you know, or sometimes snobs or just they don't know how to deal with people in a way where, and sort of our industry has kind of become in a way of like, if you're dealing with creative people or technical people, just expect that you're going to get people that don't know how to talk to you properly, don't know how to deal with you properly and all of that. And we're like, no, we're going to be the tech company that people love working with. They can sit down and have a coffee, have a drink, go out with. We're not going to be the company where they're like, we just have to hire these guys because they know how to do the technical work, but I really don't like them. That's really, we make it very intentional to make the relationship with our team be really a friendly one and something that you want to work with that person again.
I love that. That's so funny. It's yes, you know, we're creative, but you know, we like people. I think you have to like people. And I think to, you know, to be in the event space in some way, shape, or form, I would think liking people would be a good start, but you know, hey.
Yeah, tech people are just kind of, and it's not like they don't want to, but generally, you know, sometimes tech people, we're kind of closed off. Okay, closed off and we're kind of in our silo. And if you're kind of approaching too much, you're kind of like, okay, here's what you want, now get away. You know, and that's how a lot of them kind of operate. So even when we're choosing people that we add to our team, very careful about sort of the personalities, because we don't want someone who's gonna rub someone the wrong way and it's just like, that's not what I expect from you guys. We really want people to expect from VeeKast. Anyone you hire from us is going to be people that you like working with. It's kind of, you know,
Nice. Awesome. Okay. So anything new, anything, how long have you been in business, Donvil? I don't know if you mentioned that. And I want to find out just, you know, from your, from the beginning stages, anything new that you're focusing on, you know, this year as we're making the turn to, you know, fall, winter, and into next year, anything new?
So, so number one, we have been in business since 2006. That was that second year of college. Yeah, that's it's about 17 years now.
Wow.
So it's a long time, and I know I look young because I am young, but I just started early. And in terms of like anything new that we're doing, I mean, a big thing is really establishing our audiovisual services more to be, because people know us well for production and especially video production, because that's what we had focused on for so many years, but it's really making clear to everyone that we've been doing audiovisual production for events a long time. We've always done it. But making it clear and making sort of the outcomes of some of our past clients and some of our recent clients really clear, so people know that we can handle that for you and it can be improved over what you've done in the previous years. So that's one of the big things. And streaming overall, as you know, during the C time, we didn't, people really didn't know what streaming was. Knew it as virtual events, but it was such a broad category. But the way we had branded our service was really to use words that people were looking for. We knew that the type of production we were doing was streaming and that it's always been that, but people didn't know that word. People. So we didn't use that word. We just branded our own term and said, this is what you get, that high quality production you want. This is what you get with our Event Pro production service. But now sort of times have changed. People are going back to in person. We have very little, most of our event productions we have on our calendar now are in-person productions. Very few of them even have streaming at all. But then we still found that there's a market for a lot more streaming productions. People are still having a demand for it, but they're very targeted and they're very specific. So we're really spending the next few months really pushing the audiovisual branding more, as well as streaming services branding in a very specific targeted way. And that one more from a national basis, where the audiovisual production more from a local.
Got it. Yeah, it's amazing having a business, how you really have to just always be on top of, your branding and your service offerings and what you're putting out there and staying sharp and, just really keeping everyone abreast of what's new. So that's why I kind of love that question. That's why I do ask that question, just because as entrepreneurs, we're spinning, we're, doing 50 things, but it's important to really make sure that our audiences know everything that we're doing and different services that, we're really trying to focus on, for the next year or quarter
And if,
or however.
and if I could provide any kind of even recommendation or guidance, and I mean, it worked really well for us. We more than doubled the company over the course of that time.
Mhm.
And by the time of the going into the third year is almost triple the amount of business
Wow, that's
previously.
great.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. But I think what I wanted to sort of share, which is what worked really well, is we took a page out of Apple's branding strategy, which is even if something becomes more of a demand and you feel you do it better or you have a very unique way of doing it, don't just simply jump in the pool of I do this too, but I do it better than everyone. It's to take what it is that you do and completely brand it as something else and don't even refer to the term that everyone else uses. So like Apple, I remember when the iPod came out and everyone was raving, I was completely confused because I had already had an MP3 player. I've been playing all my multiple songs on it for a long period of time. I'm like, this is not new. Why is everyone bugging out? And Apple just refused to call it an MP3 player. They just call it, this is the iPod, the best thing you ever have for your music player. And I'm just like, this is the same thing, and
Mhm.
what it really did is, well, number one, they did it better because I did know that it was a much better execution than my MP3 player, but it was essentially the same thing, but they
Mhm.
branded it and made it their own, where almost not any music player was called an iPod. We said, well, let's take this service that we know has a popular name, but we're going to call it our own name. And that is what we're going to call it. Even in our contracts, we had, if you're going to refer to this service or refer to this thing, refer to it as the brand name we created for it, because we wanted to make sure that anytime someone mentioned it,
Yeah.
it only could, if someone searched it up, you could only find us.
Yeah.
And it sort of snowballed in that way. So it's really to take what you do and brand it. Don't just say we're one of the people and we do it best. Is to brand it and make it your own. So everyone knows, well, if you want this level of that service, it comes from you.
Awesome. That is some good advice, folks. And that leads us right into our last question. My favorite question. So we have a lot of folks that listen to this podcast that are thinking about starting a business or might have started a new business and really having a rough time. Or maybe they started a business and then they took a pause because it was too hard, or, they just got stuck. Any advice that you could share to the folks that I just mentioned as a successful entrepreneur?
Yeah, I think the biggest advice I would share, and I know this is probably going to have one of the most impactful things, because I do this a lot too with the church I do go to, what I'm a member of. I'm always encouraging people with business and things of that nature. The biggest thing I'm always talking about is to not overcalculate what you need to do next. Go at it 100%. A lot of the time, people sometimes as well, they want to sort of have a backup plan. And I think that's a mistake. In order for you to figure out how to make something work, you need to go at it 100% in order for you to figure it out. And yes, you're going to have some bumps and some bruises and some falls along the way, but you'll learn a lot more, a lot faster in order to recover faster and figure things out. So I would say is don't overcalculate what you need to do next. Decide on a couple of things you're going to do or some things you're going to try, and just go at it. And just like, who cares if you fall over? It's kind of like the idea of learning how to shoot a basketball well. You're not going to sit down and work out your mathematics and say the angle of the whatever, the velocity. No,
Mhm.
get on the court and start shooting. And you'll
Yeah.
figure it out a lot faster that way than sitting down trying to figure out a calculator mathematical science. And that's why I think sometimes we do in business, we try to overcalculate stuff, and it's just like, no, just do it. I like the term that Nike uses, just do it, just
Yeah.
figure it out. You'll fall on your face, but you will learn a lot faster that way. Yeah.
That is great advice. And just to piggyback on that, it's this is kind of like my new thing, right? We all want to try to make everything perfect and do everything perfect. Perfect, there is no perfect, right?
Yeah.
So we strive, my team, and I say this all the time, we strive for excellence, right? Perfection, there is no perfection. And people spend so much time, I'm trying to work on this new business brochure and it needs to be perfect. And I'm going back and I'm spending 6-7 months trying to make it, the right colors, right? You could have opened your business and had sales already, so stop sitting there trying to kind of piggyback on what Donvil just said, making everything perfect. There is no perfect. So
I know, like, during this time, we did some things even for our continued growth and for the goals that we want to go with. We tried some things, spent some money, like we spent like well over $100,000 just in sort of development or trying some stuff out to see if that would help the business grow a little more. And granted, I was hurting from it, like that's a lot of freaking money,
yeah.
And then ultimately I said, okay, well, let's throw stuff, try different stuff and see if it works. We're able to try this out. We have the ability to spend the money and something is going to work. Unfortunately, all those things we tried, the thing that grew the business most is just our traditional stuff. Most of that stuff we tried, but the upside to that is I learned, well, that doesn't work. That doesn't work and that doesn't work. I spent all the money I can. I said, just keep on going, try slightly different. I said, you have it, try it. And they didn't work. So I knew quickly now, no one could tell me this is the way to do it, unless they tell me we did it completely wrong.
Yeah.
I already threw everything I could at it and it didn't work. So that's the risk that you got to take in order to learn quickly.
Yeah, and this is solid advice for someone who's starting a business or new. It's spending money. You have to invest in your business, and there's things that you're going to invest in that really work, and there's things that you're going to invest in that don't. But it's really just learning. So and that learning doesn't stop or shouldn't stop. You should not stop learning. Professional development and investing in your business, all of that stuff is really important. If you want to really stick around and be around providing your products or services for a really long time. So thank you for that. This has been great. Donvil, tell us where they can find you, and we'll make sure that we share your information as well, but let everybody know where they can find you.
Sure. You can find me, you can visit our website, which is VeeKast.com, and spell it out, it's VeeKast. Not a C, so it's a K, VeeKast.com, or you can email me directly at donvil@VeeKast.com. Or you can find us on Instagram or Facebook at VeeKast. Or if you could find me on there directly too, I'm usually at Donvil Collins. So.
All right,
Yeah.
awesome. All right, well, thank you, Donvil. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you for sharing all of those tidbits and your knowledge of having and running a successful business for 17 years. For those of you that are listening, thank you for supporting our Coffee with Cher podcast. Make sure you share with a friend, and make it a great day, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Bye.